activating cheat code, legendary DR Ezone, right? Right? I feel like this is the cheat code to keep people watching. I had the opportunity to compare all three Ezones 98 going back in time. This one is like 10 years old, right? Let's do the ultimate comparison and see which one is the best. You might be surprised. So across all these three models, I feel like it is still about combining power with precision. Maybe even now, I think Yonex decided to make things a bit more specific to the line because they dropped the wave slightly compared to the DR version. So you have faster racket with more power, and basically it is to make the performance a bit easier. It is easier to play well. So easy, E-zone, easy racket. So when I was comparing all these three models to each other, I definitely felt this common ground of easy performance and more power, but still enough precision, because E-zone is not really launching high above the net. It is more penetrating through the court, so perhaps a bit better for the players who want to play on the hard courts. I think I like it more on the hard courts. It is just easier to drive the ball because it is easier to catch the ball on the rise, and it is a bit easier to just catch the ball in front of you. Whenever you are a bit late, the launch increases, you lose a bit of this sense of control, so it's harder to put the ball back inside the court. And this is basically where I struggle with the E-zone. I think it takes a dedicated player with a fixed idea how you want to play, how you want to execute the shots, and basically it is more about driving the ball. If you want to play with shapes, I think Vickers is a bit better, but me as a grinder, as a more classically developed player, E-zone is a bit better, basically because the launch is much more predictable. I can see why E-zone became a great alternative to players coming from frames like Blade or Prestige. So now the key differences between all the models. I think the DR is the most classic one. I think the DR is maybe, when it comes to the forgiveness, in the middle. Previous version, Aqua Night Black, released in like 2022, is the worst when it comes to the forgiveness, and this one, Minolon, funny name, is maybe the most forgiving E-zone to date. Basically, with this one, I have a better pocketing sensation, the ball stays slightly longer. It is the most forgiving racket of all the E-zones I tried, and because of that, I just get a bit more confidence. Something I had issues with the Aqua Night Black because the release time was the fastest. So when I make a mistake, it is multiplied, making things worse. So I couldn't really understand what the E-zone is asking me to do, other than I feel like it is asking me to drive, because driving is basically, focusing on one thing rather than many things combined together. And when you focus on one thing, you probably are less likely to make a mistake. Keep things simple. But yeah, of course, you need spin potential at some point, and that's where I think E-zone line in general is struggling a bit. Even though the 16-19 pattern should be giving me spin potential, I feel like sometimes I'm losing the ball and it shoots off with too much power. Something that probably is coming from my technique, but still, like with the Vickers line, I could spin the ball more, and with the Percept, because it was a lower powered racket, I still had this margin to accelerate with my wrist. And E-zone, I would focus more on driving the ball rather than play with spin rates. The feel, right? You want to know if the new version is as good as the DR version. And I think the current one is even better. I feel the pocketing, I feel the comfort, I still have the feedback from the string bed, and I still can tweak the feel slightly with string selection. Most likely something on the stiffer side. The DR surprised me, was still okay, but due to it not being as forgiving regarding the sweet zone, I think the sweet zone was just smaller, more classic, you can say. It was a more classic sweet zone. And I think, yeah, now Yonex, as they try to make the line more specific with a better intention behind the line, I think they accomplished the goal. They made something easy. They lowered the specs, they made the frame slightly stiffer, but still the neck is very thin. So someone coming from the Prestige line, someone coming from the Blade line, it still feels familiar. When you have these familiar grounds, you feel a bit more confidence. I love it for that specific thing. I can play with a lighter racket, but still with enough power, enough penetration, and the feel is there. The question is, can I switch to the Ezone 98? Because yeah, the response is definitely a bit different to those old school rackets, and I think time will tell, because it is addictive. You want to play with the Ezone. As I put the racket down, I'm thinking about it, and yeah, I'll put a leather grip here, maybe some to the butt cap, maybe some to the top. I still have like 1 gram, 2 grams at the top. Maybe I'll remove it, we'll see. Regarding power potential, I would say all the Ezones are on the similar level. This one maybe has the biggest control and the biggest forgiveness. That's why it is my favorite Ezone. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and see you soon. Bye bye.